Hello and welcome back to another video. Today's video is all about question tags, and we use them often in English. And I know that they can be very confusing, very frustrating to people who are learning English. So in today's video, I want to answer 4 questions about question tags. First of all, what are they? Second, how do we form them? Third, why do we use them? And fourth, when do we use them? But before we get into that, of course, I have to remind you, if you haven't subscribed, please subscribe. If you like anything in this video, you might want to hit it with a thumbs up. Maybe leave a comment if you have a question about anything I covered in the video. I always answer every single comment. And one last thing. We are very close to 1,000 subscribers on this channel. Just a few more to go. And once we hit 1,000 subscribers, I will come out with a video celebrating the 1,000 and then also announcing a contest. And it's going to be a very easy contest. On that video, you will simply leave a comment to be entered into a half-hour tutoring session with me. So be on the lookout for that video in the very near future. So let's talk a little bit about what question tags are. I'm assuming if you're watching this channel and you understand most of what I'm saying, you already know how to form questions in English. We often call it the 5 W's and the 1 H. We have when, where, what, why, how, and who. You might form a question with some kind of modal verb like can or may or will. But these question tags come at the end of the sentence. So you're not even sure that what is being said is a question until the very end. And this can upset some English learners, give them real trouble when trying to understand what is going on. So let's talk about that word tag. And of course, in English, tag has many different definitions, but there's one that I want to talk about. You sometimes might hear the phrase, "Can I tag along?" And what that means is, can I follow? Can I hang out for the day? Maybe you have a friend who's just hanging out at home, or maybe going to the movies later on that evening. You might just say, I don't really have any plans today. Do you mind if I just tag along? Means hang out, means go where you go. And that's actually what question tags do. They follow a statement. They always come at the end of a sentence. And it's rare in English that I can say always for any kind of rule, but I can in this case. So before I talk about how we form them, I would like to give you a couple examples. The first one, you're not allergic to peanut butter, are you? Or you could say, you're allergic to peanut butter, aren't you? So in each of those examples, they only have one negative word. And when I talk about negative words, they often, if not always, begin with N. And they're words like never, or not, or no, or nobody. And we often form contractions with the word not, like can't, meaning cannot, or won't, meaning will not. So it's important to note that in your statement with a question tag, you will only ever use one negative word. It could come in the statement part of the sentence, or it could come in the question tag part of the sentence. But you should never have 2 negatives, and you should never have 2 positives. Now it's true, we often have sentences with double negatives. For instance, you ain't never gonna learn no English. You ain't never gonna learn no English. Ain't, it's technically a word, I guess. You will hear it often in English. And then no later. You might hear some native speakers say a sentence like that. It's not correct. If you put that in writing, I'm sure your English teacher would mark it wrong, but many native speakers in the United States will use double negatives. But if you say, "You aren't allergic to peanuts, aren't you?" that would sound totally wrong. You have two negative words in that statement, but the opposite is true. You can't have both parts be positive. "You are allergic to peanuts, are you?" That just sounds wrong. So when you're forming these, make sure you pick one side, either the statement part or the question part, to have a negative. So let's give us a couple examples of when and why you would use question tags. For instance, "You aren't allergic to cookies, are you?" Maybe a person has already made cookies and there is peanut butter in them, and they were about to offer their friend some cookies. Maybe at one time, long time ago, they discussed this person being allergic to cookies and the baker had simply forgotten. Or maybe when the plate of cookies was put down in front of the person, they had a funny look on their face. So instead of asking, "Are you allergic to peanut butter?" because there could be many reasons there's a weird look on this person's face, you just kind of soften the blow of an actual question by putting a question tag at the end of your statement. Or what if the person said, "Oh, you're allergic to peanut butter, aren't you?" So that means, yes, they probably did know at some point their friend was allergic to peanut butter. They made the cookies, they forgot, and then they only remembered when they saw that strange look on their friend's face. So that was a way to let them know, "Oh, I do remember now that you're allergic to peanut butter." How about this statement with a question tag? "You're going to the party Friday night, aren't you?" The person might say this because maybe they discussed it earlier in the week, so they're letting the person know, okay, I have some understanding of this. If they had simply asked, "Are you going to the party on Friday night?" their friend might say, "Yeah, we discussed it already. Of course I'm going. Don't you remember?" So in a way, this person just wanted confirmation, just wanted to be reassured that plans hadn't changed. And the opposite could be true. "You're not going to the party Friday night, are you?" So maybe there was something on the person's face, maybe they had heard something. So they start off with a statement, letting the other person know, "I am not really asking the question. I heard from somebody else that you're not going. You're not going to the party Friday night, are you?" So when you start off with a statement, you're assuming that the person knows you know a little bit about the situation. Let's say you show up at a friend's house, maybe for the first time, and they have a dog. And maybe you're acting a little nervous around the dog. And the person might ask you, "You like dogs, don't you?" That way it's harder to say no, that you don't like dogs. Maybe they don't want to put their dog away, so they're kind of saying it nicely, like, "The dog is staying here, sorry." If they had asked, "Do you like dogs?" it's easier for you to say, "No, not really. I'm allergic. They scare me," something like that. So we often say a statement with the question at the end to make it harder for the person to answer the way that we don't want them to. Maybe when you walk in, you have a look on your face like you're already scared. The person might acknowledge, "Oh, I don't think they like dogs." So they could start off by saying, "Oh, you don't like dogs, do you?" And one little note about punctuation, maybe you've noticed in every sentence I've put up here, the comma always comes after the statement part and right before the question tag. And another even smaller question tag, I'm not even sure if it's considered a question tag, that we often put at the end of sentences is a simple "right?" So, "You know my name, right? You like peanut butter, right?" So it's just getting a little feedback from the person. You might already know the answer. You just want them to say it, maybe? All right, so this can get a little tricky because the question tags that you use actually totally change what you're saying. Let's take a look at these two statements. You know the rules, don't you? You don't know the rules, do you? Maybe you start playing a game with somebody and this person really messes up and you feel badly about it. You could say, oh, you don't know the rules, do you? It's kind of like, okay, let's stop. Let's figure this out. We'll let you know the rules. Maybe you messed up and maybe you have played the game before and this person is really upset. And they could say, you know the rules, don't you? So notice how in the statement part, they are assuming a lot. The first one, they didn't know the rules, let's make it better. The second one, you know the rules, don't you? They're assuming that they did know the rules and they messed up. So be careful when you use these question tags. They can be super helpful. They can help you get your point across, but also they can be taken the wrong way. So I encourage you, listen to as many native speakers as possible using these question tags so that you'll always know how to use them in the correct way. This video was actually suggested to me by a huge supporter of the show, Cecilia from Argentina. So if you ever have suggestions for me to do a video in the future, leave it down in the comments section. I might do it. Thank you so much for tuning in. Thank you, Cecilia, for giving me the good suggestion, and I will see you guys next time.